Santiago. The road seen, then not seen. The road seen, then not seen. The hillside hiding, then revealing the way you should take. The road dropping away from you, as if leaving you to walk on thin air, then catching you, holding you up when you thought you would fall. And the way forward, always in the end, the way that you came. The way that you followed, the way that carried you into your future, that brought you to this place. No matter that it sometimes had to take your promise from you. No matter that it sometimes had to take your promise from you. No matter that it sometimes had to take your promise from you. No matter that it always had to break your heart along the way. The sense of having walked from deep inside yourself out into the revelation. To have risked yourself for something that seemed to stand both inside you and far beyond you. And that called you back in the end to the only road you could follow, walking as you did in your rags of love and speaking in the voice that by night became a prayer for safe arrival. So that one day you realized that what you wanted had actually already happened, and long ago, and in the dwelling place in which you lived before you began, and that every step along the way you had carried the heart and the mind and the promise that first set you off and then drew you on. That every step along the way you had carried the heart and the mind and the promise that first set you off and then drew you on, and that you are more marvelous in your simple wish to find a way. You are more marvelous in that simple wish to find a way than the gilded roofs of any destination you could reach. As if all along you had thought the end point might be a city with golden domes and cheering crowds, and turning the corner, or what you thought was the end of the road, you found just a simple reflection and a clear revelation beneath the face looking back, and beneath it another invitation, all in one glimpse, like a person or a place you had sought forever, like a bold field of freedom that beckoned you beyond, like another life, and the road still stretching on. Santiago was written at the end of a cycle of poems about the Pilgrim Experience in life. This strange intuition every human being has in almost every culture, that over there is slightly more important than here where I'm standing, and that I'm going to make a journey out of going over there, and that things are going to happen along the way, and I'm going to be a bigger, more generous, more understanding person when I get to that there. And of course, these dares, these sacred dares, are in all of our cultures: Kyoto in Japan, Varanasi in India, Mecca in the Muslim world, and Jerusalem, Rome, and Santiago, of course, Santiago de Compostela. This present-day postmodern pilgrimage that has turned into a purely Catholic destination, into an ecumenical. And people of all persuasions and no persuasions at all are walking this trail in northern Spain for 500 miles from the Pyrenees to this destination. The closer we get to the destination, the more we get a sense of trepidation. Have we walked in the right way to get here? Have we shaped the conversation to a place of maturity? Will I be disappointed in what I find? There's a lovely old invocation in the Irish monastic tradition around the pilgrimage to Rome back in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th centuries. Very dangerous times to walk all the way to that gleaming city in the imagination. But it's just a very short piece, and it says, to go to Rome, great the journey, little the gain. Great the journey, to go to Rome, great the journey, little the gain. If you do not carry him with you, you will not find him there. Great the journey, little the gain. If you do not carry him with you, you will not find him there. Of course, we can understand that image in the purely Christian tradition, but we can also understand the equivalent in our own life of what seed, what central purity and sincerity we need to carry with us, especially when we come across the places where the path disappears, which is literally half the time. I mean, if you think of what makes a beautiful path in life, it is the fact that it appears and disappears. A path that appears and disappears, through woodland and meadow, through distance and proximity, through snowbound passes, and reappears again and again, is a beautiful path. A road that's laid down as a straight line is rarely a beautiful road, apart from the beauty of arriving early. But it's a relief to think that in the natural world, things are hidden from us almost 50% of the time. In biological terms, things are in quiescence or incipience. They're hidden. And they only appear in their fullness for a very short portion of the year, actually, and they only appear at all perhaps for half of the year. So it's quite a relief to think that you're not actually supposed to know what's going on in your life at least 50% of the time. And it might be more like 75% of the time, and perhaps more accurately 90% of the time. And every now and again, in the natural course of things are made manifest to you. And then they're hidden again. It's still your life, it's still your journey, it's still your pilgrimage. The road seen, then not seen. The hillside hiding, then revealing the way you should take. The road dropping away from you as if leaving you to walk on thin air, then catching you, holding you up when you thought you would fall. And the way forward, always in the end the way that you came, the way that you followed, the way that carried you into your future, that brought you to this place, no matter that it sometimes had to take your promise from you, no matter that it sometimes had to take that promise from you, no matter that it always had to break your heart along the way. Always had to break your heart along the way. The sense of having walked from deep inside yourself out into the revelation. To have risked yourself for something that seemed to stand both inside you and far beyond you, and that called you back to the only road you could follow. The only road you could follow, walking as you did in your rags of love. When I wrote that line, I looked up from the page and out the window and I said, we'll all end up in that costume one day. Rags of love, yeah. The abasement in love, the love of your partner. Yeah. You will always find yourself in the utmost vulnerability in the place where you love utmost in your life. Yeah. With your children, you're abased. We often will walk in rags of love around our children's disappointments and difficulties, and their heartbreak becomes our heartbreak, and has always been our heartbreak from the beginning, in our intuition of what lay ahead of them. Yeah. And you can put on false finery, but to truly walk the path of life, you'll sometimes have to walk it in rags. The rags of our own ability to truly feel intimacy and affection for others, and to be able to do nothing to prevent their heartbreak. And in the end, to be able to do nothing to prevent our own sundering of that imaginary loving organ. Walking as you did in your rags of love, and speaking in the voice that by night became a prayer for safe ride. So that one day you realize that what you wanted had actually already happened. And actually, one day you realize that what you wanted had actually already happened, and long ago, and in the dwelling place in which you lived before you began, and that every step along the way. Every step along the way you had carried the heart and the mind and the promise that first set you off and then drew you on, and that. You were more marvelous in your simple wish to find a way. More marvelous in your simple wish to find a way than the gilded roofs of any destination you could reach. As if all along you had thought the end point might be a city with golden domes and cheering crowds, and turning the corner at what you thought was the end of the road, you found just a simple reflection and a clear revelation beneath the face looking back. And beneath it, another invitation, all in one glimpse, like a person or a place you had sought forever, like a bold field of freedom that beckoned you beyond, like another life, and the road still stretching on. Santiago. In Pilgrim, poems by David